Good morning. Morning. Let's try that with a little enthusiasm, shall we? Good morning. That's better. Welcome to the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Scott. I'll be your host for the next couple of minutes. I want to remind you to please silence your phones. Speaking of which. There we go. Mine is now silenced. Every service we always start out honoring the land on which we are located. So we'll start with that first. I'm sorry, no we won't. We will first start with the welcome slide. I'm new at this, I've never done it before. You'll have to excuse me. I don't know where the clicky thing is, so I will just point at the people in the back of the room and they will bring up a slide for me. The clicky thing, the click. I tease my wife incessantly. She refers to it as the clicker. It's the remote, but nonetheless. Okay, so I don't see a remote clicky thing in here, but that's fine. And emergency click delivery. Thank you. The clicky thing, and so it shall be called. All right, so let's start out first of all. No, see, it's backwards. That's what I thought. All right, we will start out with this. I'm making an executive decision. We will start with honoring the land on which we are now located. The Eureka Center for Spiritual Living acknowledges that the land on which we gather is the ancestral territory of the Wiyot peoples. The territory extends to the communities throughout most of Humboldt County, and we honor the Wiyot peoples today. Okay, let's see which slide comes up next. There we go. Together we will all say the top half of this slide, and then as I like to shake it up, then you'll just turn to somebody else and you will say with enthusiasm, "You look marvelous," because I think it's important to have that reminded. You can do it in your best Billy Crystal impersonation if you want, but straightforward is fine. Together we say, "We are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us." Turn to somebody and say, "You look marvelous." All righty. I believe this is an expression where they say it has now gone off the rails. Welcome to the month of October. This is our first service for October. I like to always just give a minute or two of interesting facts about the current month. October is the 8th month of the year, or so it used to be. And that's why it was October. And then 2 months were added. I think it was like 450 BC. I was there. And January and February were added, and everything just moved backwards. There are several birthdays of note in October, not the least of which are in this room. Let's see here. Alfred Nobel was born October 21st, 1833. Neil deGrasse Tyson, one of my very favorite people, was born October 5th, 1958. Desmond Tutu was born October 7th, 1931. A couple of musicians of note. John Lennon, October 9th, 1940. Paul Simon, October 13th, 1941. People of industry of note, Bill Gates, October 28th, 1955. Bob Ross, the painter with the big hair, okay. October 29th, 1942. Jimmy Carter just celebrated his 100th birthday on October 1st. Wow. Speaking of political circles, loosely related, Eleanor Roosevelt, who was the longest-serving First Lady of the United States, was born October 11th, 1884 in New York. And our current Vice President, Kamala Harris, who is the first female vice president of the United States, as we know. will be celebrating her birthday, her 60th birthday on October 20th, which is the same date as my wife's birthday, October 20th. A couple of quick events. Let's see here. October 6th, today, prepare to celebrate National Noodle Day, folks. And there we go, Amy was celebrating. Noodles have been around for over 4,000 years. The most popular noodle is, you guessed it. Yep. 5 facts about ramen. Here we go. It was at first a luxury food. Because of its convenience, instant ramen was initially 6 times as expensive as fresh noodles. Japan invented it. Many Japanese consider instant ramen their contribution to the world. Really? That's your contribution? All that you've done and ramen is your contribution? It is a source of national pride for them. China is obsessed with ramen. Citizens of China consume more than 46 billion packets of ramen every year. It is super popular in prison. It consistently ranks on the top of lists of food sold to inmates. And the final fun fact is it is even cheaper than you thought. At averaging 13 cents per package, it would only cost about $140 a year to eat ramen noodles for every meal. I was going to say that doesn't include the doctor bills that you will have for eating ramen from every single day. And one other holiday, and then we'll move on. October 28th is Frankenstein Friday, which was created to celebrate Mary Shelley and her famous novel Frankenstein, or Frankenstein. Well, sorry about that hump. What hump? Frankenstein Friday aims to immortalize and honor this monster as a monster of a book right around the time that the U.S. celebrates, or that we celebrate Halloween. There you go. You're now up to speed. Okay, let's move forward with the unimportant stuff. Oops. Announcements coming up for the week. You can see there's all sorts of things going on. If you have not, incidentally, welcome to the Zoomers and welcome to people who are joining us for the first time. Nice to have you here. If you would like to know about these at all times and you are not on Reverend Angelica's mailing list, you can sign up in the other room. I also wanted to, where's Lori? Wanted to thank Lori. Lori is doing the morning meditation, and she will be doing it with some regularity. First Sunday of each month, and just wanted to thank you, Lori. I appreciate that. We are always looking for people to help out. Let's see, the men's support group that is run by Edward. The next one will be this Saturday from 3 to 4:30. Edward, did you have, and could you do in 30 seconds? Okay, no. Was that no, you cannot? Or no, you have nothing to say? Did you want to add anything to this?
Just be there. It's very powerful, and we've got some wonderful guys there who, it's very powerful.
Okay, so Edward was saying, be there. There are some wonderful guys in the group, not like the rest of us who don't attend, but
It's now going to be from
3 to 5, and it's on Saturday, and it's in person here at the center. Special request of the group. Okay, let's see here. What else do we have going on? We have got Crafternoon. Crafternoon. You come here and you craft. It's very simple. Bring something creative and join in with other people who are also doing creative things. That will be Friday the 18th from 1 to 4 in the social hall. Better Together is going to go to the Haunted Rail Tour. And that will be Friday, October 18th. That's something put on by the North Coast Repertory Theater, which I'm proud to be one of the management team. This is huge. The Haunted Rail Tour, we started it last year, and the response was, how you say, nuts. Lots and lots of people go to this. It is absolutely wild. So if you would like to go with the Better Together group, which is the center's social group, you would talk with Rose, or you could send her a message or send her an email. And every month, the Better Together group tries to put something better together.
What time is that?
What does it say there?
It doesn't say. I didn't put it up there, but if you go to that website,
It's a nighttime thing, and it's,
this night happens to be the night after the full moon, so it'll be neat.
it is wild. They bring in the entire acting community gets involved. I don't because I'm directing another play right now. But it's scary, it's fun, it's clever, it's elaborate. It's nuts. So make sure to go see it. It's a lot of fun.
And it's suggested that you look it up and get your tickets now.
Yeah.
Because they are gonna sell.
We are selling, we were completely sold out of Sweeney Todd. We haven't done that in like 10 or 12 years where we've had a complete sellout. So the theater's doing very well. Thank you, because the center's been so supportive of it.
It starts at 7.
It starts at 7? Okay.
7 to 11.
Coming up next, Reverend Lynn Fritz, coming in from Reading, will be our speaker on October 20th. So look forward to that. We're also getting back to this. We're starting the publicity on this early. This will be our 4th annual, we changed the name of it from Holiday Decoration Exchange to Holiday Decoration Giveaway because there was some confusion. People thought they had to bring something to take something. If you have not got involved in this, your life is lesser because this is one of the most wonderful experiences. What we do, we started this in 2019, I think it was, and we asked the community to donate gently used and new decorations of all faiths. Most of them tend to be Christmas. But people bring them in, stores donate them. People who, I've had several stories of somebody bringing in boxes of decorations. Well, my grandmother had these for her whole life and then she passed away and I want them to go to somebody else. And the range of creativity of these decorations is amazing. And all we do is we get them all set up in the social hall. It fills every square inch of the social hall. It covers the walls, because a lot of them are walls. We get Christmas trees. We get those big blow-up things that people have given away. And then we just open our doors from 11 to 2, and people take what they need. It's just that simple. They don't have to document it or justify it. We are starting to put some limits on the first run because we've had some people in the past who have come in literally with garbage bags and just cleaned it out. And that's not the whole spirit of what we want. So what do we need? We will be needing volunteers, but most importantly, because I am directing a play that opens mid-November, it's only going to give me a couple of weeks to help do this because I'm the chair of this, so I'm looking for somebody else who could also chair with me. Angelica has volunteered. She doesn't do anything else around the center, so we can give her. But we would like to have, if you'd like.
I volunteer if nobody else.
Right. And it's simple. It would be basically sending out some press releases. And like I said, once my play opens November 15th, then since I'm not in the play, I will have some time, but I don't want to wait to do all of this in the last 2 weeks. So if you would like to work with me and what will end up being a lot of other people, please let me know. So that is for first Saturday in December, December 7th. Let's see here, the bookstore. We have some great reading in October, all books 25% off, that's in the other room. The Little Pantry, ironically, talking about ramen. The Little Pantry feeds our community. If you can donate food to the Little Pantry, non-perishable food, I don't know whether we need ramen or we don't at this point. But whatever you can donate is helpful. And I believe that is, we are what?
Almost out.
We are almost, we go out real quickly. Donna, real,
I brought some, and then there's some in that drawer, the first drawer.
okay.
There's some there.
And it goes quickly.
Amy and Ed brought some, so.
Okay, so we are in a new month. We have a new theme. Harvesting Abundance is our theme for, thank you, is our theme for October 2024. Yeah. We had done one I think last October about abundance, and I thought about I'd just recycle the slide, but figured because you all pay complete attention and remember every slide I've ever created, you would go, no, I remember that one from 2022, you can't use it again. So I had to make a new one. But yeah, thank you. They're a lot of fun to create those. Okay, what's going to happen next is we're going to move into the more traditional part of the service, and I will just do that because it happens to be my week this month. We're going to go into our moment of peace. And what will happen if you are new here, and even if you aren't, it's going to happen, is I'm going to read something, and then we will meditate on it for about a minute. And then Jackson will play some music, and then I will come back and do what is called a spiritual mind treatment, which is our version of a prayer. And then we will introduce Angelica, who will come up and, yeah, I got that right, do the message. Okay, and do what she does. Okay. So I wanted to do something about abundance, because I knew that was going to be the theme. I had a sneak peek. And so I did a little bit of like research about who could I quote or what have you. And when I searched my computer, I found something that I wrote 9 years ago about abundance for my column. So I'm going to read that in a moment. But before I do that, there was from Stephen Covey. People with a scarcity mentality tend to see everything in terms of win-lose. There is only so much, and if someone else has it, that means there will be less for me. The more principle-centered we become, the more we develop an abundance mentality. And the true meaning of abundance goes far beyond material wealth. It's about living in a state of fullness, where every aspect of your life, love, joy, purpose, and connection, is overflowing. So with that in mind, I wrote this, like I said, in 2015, and I didn't realize that I had done that until it came up today. The year prior to last was, frankly put, lousy. We had some health issues, which, as you know, are not only frightening, but also expensive. To make matters worse, what I thought was a very successful business model suddenly collapsed as if it was built on rotten toothpicks, leaving me financially scrambling. I'm fortunate, I've always put money away for a rainy day, but this was a downpour. German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said, "That which does not kill me makes me stronger." So I guess I'm sturdier for the experience, yet I retained scars. One result of this perceived loss of income was that I hunkered down, even as the tides began shifting. I looked for where I could shrink my life instead of how I could once again blossom. Because I attempt to live simply, all things being relative, there wasn't a great deal to prune. I was faced with decisions such as, how can I save $3 on the power bill? Is it really essential to patch the roof now, or can we wait? How long can I hold off before replacing my brakes? Don't misunderstand, we muddle up our existence with all too much unnecessary clutter, so if given the luxury, living within one's means is admirable and even virtuous. However, unless one is extravagant or wealthy, he or she can only cut so much fat before grinding away through the bone. Eventually, I was fortunate enough to be confronted by someone willing to have with me one of those unpleasant but many times necessary, courageous conversations. In a loving manner, she pointed out her concern that I had shifted to existing in a state of Spartan contraction rather than enthusiastic and energized expansion. You're at an age, she said, where you don't want to be counting every penny if you don't have to. It's all right to splurge now and then. You get to be comfortable. You've worked for it. You've earned it. You have always managed to create what you want when you've needed it. And now I'm afraid you're creating an atmosphere of fear. Create something different. Imagine abundance again. Please. To her credit, she was willing to go there. To mine, I was willing to listen. Since that talk, I began a thankfulness journey. I've imagined how well things can go instead of how poorly. I reaffirm gratitude whenever I can, and you know what? You can't feel bad when you feel grateful. It's impossible. Moreover, living in a state of thankfulness instead of trepidation allows you to see what was always there that you didn't notice. It's like flipping a light switch, and opportunities become brightly illuminated. I don't know whether God or the universe or fate or even coincidence responds to attitude adjustment, but I do know that oh so quickly, several marketing clients came from nowhere wanting to utilize my services. I was offered an expanded, creative, exciting position working for the city. Old clients reconnected. The company for which I did coaching expanded my hours. I shifted from praying to survive to figuring out how to manage all my new assignments, which is a much better problem, I assure you. My mantra partially became, thank you, God, for all the work, but would you mind spreading it out a little? I also developed an affirmation which I repeat often. I'm gladly willing to share it with you. Feel free to use it whenever you wish. Consider it my gift. I live in a state of constant abundance, and all things come to me as I need them. We know not from where abundance or prosperity comes, nor in which form it will manifest, but in a universe with so much and where we are so small, it doesn't take much to give us what we need. We must, however, be willing to gratefully accept it. Here's what I know, and here's what I am grateful for. The knowledge and the understanding that the universe is infinite. Its scope is beyond comprehension. It has no end. It goes on in all directions in every place since before time and will continue long after any concept of time that we have has vanished. I know this for a fact. I also know that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, and we are all of that same energy. We are made of the same stuff as the stars and the planets and the universe itself, and it therefore stands to reason that whatever thoughts we put into that fertile, unlimited mind will be manifested for us because we are the energy that helped create everything. So knowing that whatever thoughts I put into the universe will come back to me beyond any possible limit that I could picture, I put thoughts into the universe knowing of abundance, knowing of gratitude, knowing of joy, knowing of peace, knowing that each person lives not only to his or her or their potential, but beyond that, far greater than any person can even imagine. And that is the definition of abundance: to live in complete fullness, to be happy with who one is, to enjoy the health and the moments, and to expect a joyous future, because that is what we have. And for that knowledge and knowing that and putting those words into the universal law, I know that they will be manifesting. They already have been. I'm just now taking the time to recognize them, to open my arms wide, to accept them, and to embrace them. And I am grateful, and I say these words, and so it is.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see love that sets us free. There is only
Thank you, Jackson. There is an abundance of love, and now I welcome to the platform Reverend Angelica.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Zoomers. I know that this is an excellent, excellent day today. Today, we're going to reap the richness of our spiritual community. So the first thing we want to do is, wait, let me check my notes. To me, reaping the rewards, the richness of our spiritual community is about acknowledging how fortunate we are to have the experience that we're having here in this center, to be able to come to a center like this and to allow ourselves to open up and to make friends and take classes and do all the things that we do. So the first thing we're going to do today, as I mentioned in the newsletter, is we're going to welcome the new members in. And yay, that's right. So I want to tell you that membership, that I believe membership is about finding your spiritual home. It's about being in a place where you can be all that you want to be without judgment, without having to follow a preset list of rules. It's about becoming more of your very best self through Sunday gatherings, spiritual classes, through events, through friends, etc. It's about forming lasting friendships and making a positive impact on our world. And it's about learning and living the teaching of the science of mind, enhancing our life and the lives of others. And so I want to say to everybody this morning, welcome home. This is where we are. So I have some people that I want to come up in the front so that we can acknowledge you and that we can take a picture. So, you know, I'm big on pictures. It helps with my newsletters, right? So, Linda Atkins gets to come up in the front. Donna Cotham, did I say your last name right? Okay. James Eddington, Ari Cornfield, Susan Cornfield, Linda Maloney, Carol Rollins, and Brina Williams. These are all of our new members. Yay, hooray. So before our talk this morning, we have two. It's going to be Lori and Marianne. I want to give you these name tags. Hold on just a minute.
Can you guys bunch up a little bit?
smile. Sing.
These are people that wanted to name tag and didn't have them. So I will look at them in a minute.
Smile.
Get the light in your eyes, make sure the light's in your eyes.
Thank you very much for becoming part of our spiritual family. And what we know for you is that you're going to be surprised at how powerful and positive Sunday mornings and classes and everything are to you, even more so now that you've made a commitment to this group, to yourself first and foremost, and to spirit with them. So thank you very much. Now you notice that many of those new members are very busy volunteers already, so that's wonderful. So the next thing I want to do is honor our practitioners. So if our practitioners could come up in the front, that would be great. So I want to tell you that a practitioner is a true gift in many forms, a gift to all of us. To become a practitioner, one has to be a person of high spiritual consciousness with a deep understanding of spirit and themselves, trained in the study of the science of mind and treatment. And for those of you who might not know, spiritual mind treatment is our word for prayer. And treatment, according to Dr. Holmes, is the art, the science, and the skill of affirmative prayer. So I'm happy to report that each of these individuals successfully fulfilled their requirements of license renewal this year. And I also want to specifically point out Michelle and Susan, who have just gotten the status of practitioner emeritus, which means they have over 20, that means they've been serving this community and the population of it for over 20 years. So let me just say a couple more things. These practitioners and our out-of-the-area practitioners are always holding the high watch for us and are available for treatment work. Now, those of you might know that they're available for 5 minutes or so right after the service, or you can call them and their numbers are in, or emails are in the newsletter that you get monthly, which you just got. So I do want to mention, so we have Scott, Marcus, Edward Raples, Susan and Michelle. We also have our out-of-the-area ones are Jack Hall, he's in the Monterey area, Catherine Kane, who is in the Hawaii area, Karen Blakely, who's now in Grass Valley, and I mentioned Susan, right? Okay. So, okay. Oh, well, I should do it twice because you know what? Susan has been acting as our lead practitioner for quite a few years. I think mostly because nobody else wants to do the scheduling. But she's really good at it. So let's give them a hand. All right, you can go sit down. And Scott, I need you to come up here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to celebrate the past years and indeed the past year and a half's students. Classes for me are one of the things that really brings this teaching home. I mean, when I first walked into a religious science church, it was Founders Church in Los Angeles. I was there because Terry Cole Whitaker was there. You know, I had no idea about this tradition or anything. But as I'm walking from the parking garage, they had like a multi-level parking garage, to the front of the church, there was a big brass plaque that said Science of Mind Center. And I thought, my God, I've been living around the corner from one of these for years. And I used to make fun of it all the time, you know, ooh. Well, I marched into that church the very next Wednesday night for their Wednesday night service, and it was like, wow, this is amazing. And it was really funny because Dr. Leo Fishbeck, who's the minister there, is coming around afterwards. They had a coffee, social hall. We're having coffee afterwards. And I'm sitting by myself because I don't know anybody. And he comes up to me and he says, thank you for being here tonight. Now, how do I know you? Do I know you? I think he said. And I said, not yet, but you will. I'm going to become a minister. And he went, yes, darling.
Which ironically is what the universe says when you ask for something.
That's right, it is. So Scott got to teach a class, and so he is going to acknowledge his students that graduated. And they could come up here.
I was gonna say
This
this-
class is,
This class was, we did this, I believe it was in like January of this year, is that?
no, it was in.
It was right
ended-
there where it says October of last year, I knew that. So it was a wonderful class, change your thinking, change your life, and a lot of great discussion with some really wonderful people. And I will now read the names of those wonderful people and have them come forward. So Nancy Tate, would you mind stepping forward for us, please?
Let me give it to her.
Okay, great. My brother from another mother, Edward Waples, would you please step forward? Mark Wilkins, please come forward. And Catherine, I think I always mess up your last name, but I'm going to try it anyway. Flabat? Yay, me! All right, Catherine, would you step forward too?
And then you get to stand with them as the teacher
Oh, okay.
for a picture.
I can do that.
Don't break those cameras. Watch out for the reflection on my forehead. I got a smush.
They already got the picture. They got it. They got it already.
Picture's done.
Picture done.
So I have three different classes that I've been teaching. The first one I'm going to share the students with you is mental equivalence. This was done in March of '24. So David Nunes, who is probably online, I will leave, and Catherine Kane absolutely is online. She wouldn't fly in from Hawaii to take her certificate, darn. So Tiffany Schultz, and Ari Kornfeld, and Rose Paisnick. Yeah, I'll have to go to Hawaii, gee. So thank you very much for being students. Let her take a picture. I'll stand with you guys. This, being able to do it online as well is kind of neat, but it's not good for the people that live far away. They don't get to get their certificates. I'll have to mail them. So this class was called The Power of Decision, a wonderful book by Raymond Charles Barker. We finished it in August, the beginning of August. So Burl and Catherine Flabat and Claudia. Did she come today? Oh, there she is. Susan Hess. Catherine LaFleur. And Nancy Tate. You're going to have to get up and come over here. Now, these actually are not the certificates that you will be getting from CSL. Something happened and they haven't sent them to us yet. So let's squish together here.
Squish, squish.
Squish, squish, squish. Squish together.
Oh.
Thank you. And we have one more class. This class just finished, and it was really good. It was by a book called When Fear Speaks, Listen by Dennis Merritt Jones, who's a really good writer. And so Linda Atkins, and Teresa Callahan. Judy Little, is she here today? Yes. Oh, great. Judy, come up here. And Linda Maloney and Nancy Tate. I should have just told you.
You can sit down later.
Yeah, you can sit down later, Nancy. Poor lady.
Okay, squish together, squish together. Yeah. Well, you can tell those who really like classes, the one that keep getting certificates. That's the way I was 2 years and years ago. All right. We have, I'm going to invite our council president to come up because we are going to hear a community council update. Stay up here afterwards because I got the volunteer of the quarter.
Yeah. Still getting instructions. It's so nice to see a big sea of faces, and so I'm so grateful to be here with you. And I wanted to first recognize the council members, and tell you a little bit about the council if you didn't already know. And so, Nancy, get ready. In fact, I'm not going to make them come up here until the end, but I do want to recognize all of our council members. We have 6 council members, 2 of which are, 2 positions are open every year. You'll hear a little bit more about that in a minute, too. And we are joined by Reverend Angelica, who represents the ecclesiastical body of our center. And the council manages the operations of the center. That means everything that has to do from the finances and the lights and making decisions about a lot of things and discussing those things to stay in integrity with our spiritual principles, but also do business, the order of business of taking care of this place that we all love and enjoy coming to see. So that's what we do. We meet once a month. So then this year we brought in 2 new members. One was Rose. She was elected at our annual meeting, or thereabouts, because the purpose of the annual meeting is to then bring those folks in for the first of, you can have up to 2 terms, and they're 3 years. So we will have 2 positions open again in February. And so I'll be back up here probably in November and December and asking all of you to consider joining the council and giving you a little more detail on that. So then Bree came in. She absorbed the second part of Karen's term because Karen moved away. And although we are very, very grateful that she is still one of our practitioners, we needed to fill that spot. It was going to be a little bit too long. So we're very grateful to have Bree with us. And she actually joined us a little bit ahead of time, being on the actual council by participating in the audit committee. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is all the committees, because as you may recall, at the February meeting, we updated the bylaws. And so we had from our home office bylaws update that came to us with a new template. And so I reviewed and went all through that and then presented that to you in February. Since that time, we have also decided to, as a council, flush out the rest of some of the other positions. So we have a companion document that is known as our committee charters. And so we have several committees that were already part of our bylaws, others that were named as possibilities, and then a process by which we could create new committees. So the current committees that we have are the audit. By the way, I want to let you know that Doug and Nancy and Bree all participated in our very first audit. I knew that we hadn't had one as long as I could recall, and neither could anybody else. And then Wakana let me know that she couldn't find any evidence of an audit ever being performed. So we are moving, and making strides with our business operations. Yes, Mark?
What is an audit? Is like the IRS comes in?
No. That's another kind of audit, which we probably would not have to worry about. An audit is something that you do. Basically, if you think about back in those days when we all had checkbooks, some of you may still have checkbooks. I have one too. But we really went through once a month and we verified that our accounting was correct. So think about it in that way, that we're taking a look at our finances, making sure that everything has been put into the right buckets. And that's an oversimplification, okay? But it is a process by which these folks that are on the committee go through all the documents. Fortunately, Nancy already had some audit experience based on her professional work history. So she was able to, and I'm imagining here because I wasn't part of the committee, that actually did the work, that she was a great guiding force in this environment. So the council made a decision that we would look at performing an audit every 2 years going forward. We weren't going to go all the way back 40 years. That probably would have been, an exhaustive effort, would have taken an extraordinarily long time. We just said, we're going to start where we are, okay? So we looked, and they found a couple of things that were a little out of order, and they just put them where they belong, and so it all worked out. So not only are we really grateful for them, we can also say that we completed an audit. The other thing, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, you're right. Thank you for that, Bree. We are looking and hearing from Doug, who is our treasurer, every month. We are seeing those things. You all see it once a year. We look at it every month. And so we really count on those folks that are looking at things. And the audit is, again, coming back and making sure that not only is our treasurer reviewing the information, which he has been, but also that Wakana and anybody else who is making deposits and different kinds of stuff, that everything just balances, right. It's really important. I will also note that professionally, a lot of organizations have an outside auditor because our center operations, compared to, say, the community foundation where I work, that has millions in assets, we're only dealing with thousands, outside of our building, okay? Financial assets are actually pretty small, and so we didn't need to hire an outside auditor and bear that expense, okay? So it was really important that got done. And for folks coming in who may want to participate in the audit, which is not a job of the council specifically, but a way to participate and make sure that those different little operational things are getting done, we'll be looking at asking folks who wants to join such a thing. And now we have people who have participated who can come up and make that ask and explain what they did and how much time it took, okay? We also have a compensation committee. The compensation committee consists of the board president or the council president and at least another member from the council. Could also involve another member of the center. And the council looks at the minister's contract or the compensation committee looks at the minister's contract and also the office staff contract. Those are done biannually. Okay, so we just did that in November 2023. And we are looking at those things. So it's all these little things that everybody goes like, what does the council actually do? And so we have these little parts that are actually broken apart from the council as well. We have a couple of new committees I'm going to introduce. We also have a nominating committee. Currently, the nominating committee is myself and Reverend Angelica, and we will look at having another person join us for that. And the purpose of those folks is to actually review any applications that we get to the center council before February. That's when that happens. So if that's something you might be interested in joining the committee, please see me or Reverend Angelica. And again, that's the nominating committee. So the two committees that we have that are new are the investment committee. So we do have, some additional funds in our savings, and being good fiduciaries, we're going to look at how we can manage that and make things grow. And that's a really important piece of what we do. And while I'm thinking about this is not part of the investment committee work, but also just to let you know that, for example, at the February annual meeting, we asked our congregants to tell us who we should be tithing to out in the organization, because we are a tithing organization. And so we take that into account, and then the mix is sent, are confirmed by the center council at the very next meeting. And so, those are all those little decisions that we're making, right? The other thing to help us continue to grow, to attract new members, and to just be part of our community and raise a little money while we're at it, is we have a new committee called the Fundraising Committee. Now, I actually like to think of it as the Fundraising Committee because we all want to have fun. We all want to have fun? Okay, yeah. And we can make a little money, have a little fun, and show out to the community, So that's another thing. I'm not going to go into all the bells and whistles of those different committees and what they will do. But remember, these committees are not necessarily part of the center council. So that means that even though we have considered things in the past year and years where the council has really been looking at all these different activities, now we're taking care of just the business operations. And we want to invite other people to join the party, so to speak. So the mini party is called the Fundraising Committee. And then so we get lots of ideas. So we're looking at idea generation, all kinds of stuff. If you want to know more about that, please let me know. I'd be happy to give you the blurb on the committee or email it to you. I totally can email anybody who wants this document. It is 3 pages. It's not as daunting as the bylaws, I promise. But everybody wants to know exactly what's required, right? So continuing on with some of the other things, just to give you a quick update on where we are and where we have been. In the last year, we had our 40th anniversary celebrations. And so we had a lovely barbecue and all kinds of things. We've now finished that. But we often are thinking about, in November and December, what are the things that the council wants to see happen in the next year? What are the big moments that we can envision? So we're carrying out the vision throughout the next year. We make a report. This is kind of a mini pre-report on, what's been happening. We do some acknowledgments, of course, but we look at all of those things that we accomplished. The mural, as a concept and an idea, started probably, 3 years ago, Rick? And I remember that we were discussing it when I joined the council. And now we have this wonderful, great mural, which all of you found a way to participate in and support. And that mural, we just ended up making the final payment on to the artist for the extended work that she did. And so the council takes that process all the way through. As you know, we also finished our solar, but we're looking at alternate heating sources. We're also looking at the building security. We've done a lot of research. We've met with vendors, just kind of bring us up into the 21st century and see who needs to have access and how do we manage that access and how can we simplify the process and what does that really mean in terms of security. We updated the banking signers and looked at our conscious giving. I have that. I also want to acknowledge our center band. You know, they didn't take a class and they aren't new, but you know what? They very much are a key component of our service and of everything that we do. So we have to acknowledge them. From time to time, they need a little support. That's something we talk about too, making sure that we perhaps had another guitarist or somebody else to come in and add, to the system. Okay, you ready, Nancy? Hang on, Mark. Now we're gonna all start acknowledging the council folks. So if you wanna come up here, we'll take another picture just 'cause. And then we can all stay for a minute because that will lead right into Reverend Angelica's next thing on our list as we wind out our day. So we have Bree and Rose and Doug and Nancy, myself, and Burl. You think I was going to miss you? I was looking around to make sure I hadn't missed anybody else. Should have worn a fancy hat today. Oh, one more thing we also accomplished this year, painting the parking lot. Yay! In whatever capacity you support this center, I also want to acknowledge all of you, whether you're online or here in person. It takes all of us to be part of the community, so thank you.
Okay, we have two more little things to do. One is, Nancy, don't go anywhere. As you know, we choose a volunteer of, it used to be of the month, and now it's of the quarter. And we chose Nancy Tate as our volunteer of the quarter. Let me read what this says. It says, we honor our volunteer of the third quarter of 2024, Nancy Tate. With her dry sense of humor combined with wit and telling facial expressions, Nancy gets our heartfelt thanks. Nancy serves on our core council, having been in the financial world pre-retirement. She's a great asset with information and the understanding of how numbers work. Nancy played a part in the financial audit of the center this past summer and worked tirelessly at the Twice Nice sale, both pricing on the days leading up to the sale and cashiering during the event. Nancy trained for weeks as a counter of Sunday offerings and now serves as the lead counter on Sunday mornings post-service. Nancy's subtle presence and profound contribution to our community are noticed and appreciated. Thank you, Nancy Tate. And she's going to get to go up on our Wall of Fame. So the last thing is, as we do every month, we want to celebrate the October birthdays. Who has an October birthday? So stand up. Stand up.
One over there in the corner behind me. Behind you, and then one in the corner over there.
So while Burl is handing out the flowers, I wanted to remind us that all that you've seen this morning has been efforts of many to create this center and to, Alistair back there, yeah. Did you, okay, good. So reaping the benefits of spiritual community means to me experiencing the deep sense of fulfillment, the deep sense of support and transformation that comes from being part of a like-minded community. We're doing this together. And what I know is that each one of us is drawing on the collective wisdom, that the collective energy, the wisdom and the love of this community to experience more in our own lives. And what I also know is that when we state, for instance, our moment of peace, even if you don't know it, that's setting up an energy that is flowing out across the universe. All of us together, one alone can do it, but all of us together moves that energy out to a greater impression or impulsion or whatever I'm trying to say. So what I feel is that when I think about the community and reaping the harvest of it, it's about experiencing or reaping the emotional, mental, and physical richness that comes from belonging. You know, some of you might be like me where you didn't feel like you belonged as a kid. And now you do. You know, every age that's within you, your little kid and your adult kid, et cetera, your teenager, your inner teenager, which we seem to express a lot. All of that is embraced by the whole family. And what I know is that we're proving our connection with the divine. When I look out there, I see the many faces of God, the many faces of Spirit. And it's so beautiful and so heartwarming. And so I really appreciate all of you. And again, I'm going to say, welcome home. And I want you to think of this as your spiritual home. I know that many of you do. So let's do a treatment. I'll give you a longer message next week. How wonderful it is to be part of a large, growing community that is thinking similar thoughts, similar ideas, that is open and willing to be an amazing embodiment of the divine, expressing life so gloriously. How wonderful it is for each one of us to know that we are supported in consciousness for everything that we're doing, for everything that we are. How wonderful it is to be in that presence of divine love made manifest through all of us. When Jackson sang the song this morning, "There is only love," I have to agree. There is only love. Sometimes it might not look like it, but underlying everything, there is only love. So I know each one of us goes forth today celebrating the fact that we have such an amazing community, celebrating the fact that we belong and that the whole universe is continually giving us experiences to prove that we belong. So I know for each one of us that this week we have an experience that proves to us that we're in the right place at the right time. And it's a God thing. It's a good thing. And so I release these words knowing that they are so, and so it is. Our musician this morning is Edward. And Edward, I'm going to ask you not to do the reading that you were going to do, just play the music because we're already over time. Sorry.
Sorry, Charlie.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, not a problem. Okay. Here you go. Well, I have this distinction also of being the only one that's not going to make Nancy get up. Yeah, this song that I'm going to play for you today is actually one of my own compositions. You guys will be the first to ever hear it. In fact, no one's heard it other than my wife. But this comes from a period in my life when times were a little bit turmoil. It's when I first came to this area and found this church and started kind of getting my life back together. It comes from a dream I had. And very, very, very briefly, the dream is that I was floating in air in space during this dream. And I could see the planets below me. And I could see the sun, and the sun had some rays that shot over my head and formed hands. And the hands waved over the planets below me. And out of the planets came these giant 30-foot tall beings that were in humanoid form, but gaseous and ghostly. And no expressionless faces. They were all dressed like Charles Dickens' days, except for Pluto. Pluto was dressed like George Washington, and he was a violinist. And he was playing this very haunting melody. And I guess God and the sun said, "Let the ball begin." And they all coupled up and they started waltzing through the universe. And I was like a little fly circling around watching everything. And the music was drawing me closer and closer and closer in. So when I woke up, I actually remembered the melody. And I started playing with it on my home theater and created a song. So you guys will hear it. I can't play with it because I'm an asthmatic. And it's a good thing that I'm not talking so much because I can't. But the song is called The Waltz. Wait a minute, let me see what it's called. I wrote it so long ago. Oh, Waltz of the Puppeteer Celeste. And it's kind of like from my neoclassic days, I guess. Let's see if I can play it here. Thank you. Hopefully you can see the spirits dancing in the cosmos.
I could, I was really.
I've learned my lesson about leaving the stage.
All righty. As Angelica said, we're running in a little long, so I'm going to get us through the next several things. Actually, the next several steps, so you know, we're going to do our sharing of our gifts. We're going to do a community statement of inclusion, and we're going to do our closing peace song, all of which will be led by Nancy. So with that in mind, if we have someone who can pass the plates along, together we will say, together we will all look at my profile. Here we go. Together we say, I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses this center, all in it and beyond, and so it is. Put in the plate whatever you can. If you can't put in anything that's cash, put in love, and definitely put in gratitude. And the band? Accepting these gifts on behalf of the center and everybody within this room, I know that the gratitude, the joy, the abundance of these gifts is going out into our community, out into our state, and ever wider, spreading an energy of joy and peace and healing. And for that, I am very grateful for these gifts. Release that into the universal law of mind and say, and so it is.
And so it is.
Okay, as again, I've learned as a speaker, don't get in the way of food. So there will be the potluck is in the other room if anybody wants to join us. If you'd like to meet with the practitioner, you know who the practitioners are now. We are all more than willing to talk with you. And let us get somebody. Nancy, are you coming up here to read the community? Let's get somebody who will please come up and read our community statement of inclusion, and then Donna will send us out with the peace song. Who do we have?
And birthdays, happy birthday.
Oh, I thought we did the birthday thing already. Okay.
We didn't sing the song.
Oh, we didn't sing a song. Okay. So, I'll do it with you. Okay, so you'll take care of this? Is that, you'll do the birthday thing? You'll do the birthday thing.
That's okay, we got it.
Kathy will do this community statement of inclusion. I'm out of here.
Awesome. I will. One more quick announcement. I just want to acknowledge with a grateful heart our tech staff and everybody else who helps put this together that hasn't already been mentioned. So thank you all. And Amy who does the decorating, yes. All right, here we go. Our community statement of inclusion and affirmation, something I'm going to run through fast. We, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocates for people, for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remains learners and listeners so we may grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. We know that our beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well.
Let's do a happy birthday song real quick. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear people. Please form a circle and we will close with the peace song. Thank you. All right. Touch an elbow, touch a finger, as you wish. Ready? Here we go. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, loved ones all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every breath I take, yes, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment